Okay, hello YouTube. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Dragon Sicilian, beginning with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c d4, knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, begins the Dragon, bishop e3, bishop g7, f3, knight c6, queen d2, castles kingside, castles queenside, begins the Yugoslav Dragon, and the castles queenside variation of the Yugoslav Dragon. Black is going to play d5, which is the only real respected move here, and as you can see, there's a multitude of moves here. Today we're going to be focusing on the move King b1, and we're going to be focusing on this alternative. We're going to be focusing on this move Rook b8. So, if you like content like this and want to see more of it, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click your notification icon. So the move Rook b8, it's an alternative to the main line of knight takes d4, and then e5, knight f5, e takes, bishop c5, d4, bishop f8, queen f8, knight b5 with an unclear position. I do another video on this whole line. So why try to find an alternative for this? Well, the line's a little unclear, and a lot of the lines are slight edge white, which is just like the normal type of thing for most lines in the Dragon Sicilian. You're playing the black pieces, so you're going to end up with a position that's unclear, possibly a slight edge white if white knows this theory. So playing an alternative is, a plausible idea. So Rook b8, like I said, it was played by Magnus Carlsen. It was Nasmano versus Carlsen, played in 2010. So that game continued, knight on b to d5, a6, knight a7, e6, holding the pawn on d5. Then we had g4, rook e8, g5, knight h5, bishop f2, bishop d7, ed5, ed5, queen d5, knight e5, queen to b3, queen takes g5, and I guess already Carlsen is doing pretty good. He's got an advantage. Knight e4, queen f4, bishop e2, bishop to e6, queen a3, knight c4, takes, knight to d6, bishop f8, rook d4, queen d4, takes. And I'm not giving a whole lot of comments here, but I'm just going to kind of show you this game, and then I just kind of want to unpack everything that kind of happened here, because it was a lot. So bishop to b6 was the final move of the game, and then, white resigns. Bishop b6 loses, but, honestly, at this point, probably a lot of stuff lost. So what happened here, kind of what went wrong for white, and why do I find this opening choice by Carlsen confusing? Well, for starters, like Rook b8, let's kind of unpack, like, who's better here. Probably white's still better. Like, white still has an advantage here. And then kind of to unpack all the moves, it's like a question of, like, what is best to play here. And more importantly, like, if I have this in my repertoire, if I play Rook b8 with black, I'm not expecting my opponent to play exactly like Nasmano did here. I'm not expecting necessarily knight on b to d5. Like, a lot of white's moves were a little strange to me, just positionally. Like, the computer seems to think maybe knight to b to d5 is okay, then a6, then knight a7, and of course all of Magnus Carlsen's moves are just absolutely perfect, which is just how Magnus Carlsen plays. What the computer really didn't like was when white played g4 and then g5. And basically it says that after knight h5, now black is completely equal. And this makes sense. White basically just gave up all of his attacking chances, and he's just kind of stuck. Like, he's got a weird knight on a7, not so clear what we're doing down here. Once the center gets clarified, like after bishop to f2, and then just whatever, really. Once the center gets clarified and then knight e5 happens, he's got to figure out how to get his knight out of here, and his pawn on g5 is hanging. And it's not clear how he solves both of these problems. So already probably black just might be better at this point. So if I'm playing the black pieces, though, what do I do if white plays a better line than this? Because there has to be a better line than just g4, g5. So this is where I really have trouble playing moves like Rook b8. Because the center is really undefined. Like, the idea of, like, Rook b8 and then e6 and then kind of waiting to see if white comes up with the right plan, it never seems very appealing to me. Because what do I do if white does just something really direct? So, like, Rook b8 and then something like h4. Like, white's being really direct now, so now it's difficult to come up with the correct approach for black because white's being so direct. White's going to play h4, white's going to play h5 or something. He's just going to continue with some very direct assault. And it's not so clear why my rook is on b8. So h4, e5 is maybe something you could play here. Knight c6, bc6, takes, and then we just resolve the middle. Now, in my experience, normally when all these exchanges happen and you still have a pawn on e5, this isn't so great for you. But the computer doesn't absolutely hate it for black, which kind of surprised me. When I started doing the engine analysis of it, it gave like bishop g5, queen b6, hitting b2. So there's a little bit of counterplay here just because you have your rook on b8. So this is maybe kind of what Carlsen is thinking about when he plays a move like rook b8 is, okay, it's not so simple like to play h4 and then capture everything on d5, and then it's not so simple because we have this extra piece on the b8 square, and it's going to be putting pressure on b2, at a later date. So like b3, bishop f5 is possible, g4, bishop e6, queen e4, a5, and actually the position is still pretty unclear. Like, black has a lot of attacking chances, which I was shocked by, because like I said, normally in these lines where like you lose a pawn, but the pawn is on e5 and it's blocking your dark square bishop, normally black is just significantly worse in these positions. This just appears to be an exception, where black, I guess, isn't worse. But the position is just unclear. And I mean, maybe this is just what we should expect. I mean, in the sense that even though the engine thinks that black is worse, I mean, Magnus Carlsen did play it. He played rook b8 with black, so we have to assume, that there's something more than meets the eye, that it's not just going to be an easy +1 position for white with some straightforward solution. But overall, rook b8, super interesting move. Like, you have this stem game, Nespanyu versus Carlsen, played in 2010. It's a very good game if you want to try to play the black pieces. And of course, this line beginning with h4, e5 is maybe the critical idea of how to kind of tie this all together, if they play something other than what Nespanyu played in the game. And you can sort of try to add this to your repertoire. I think it's still a very strange idea. I don't fully understand it. I don't fully understand how to play it with the black pieces. It's very awkward for me to understand all the piece placements in the position. But, Carlsen did it. He managed to win the game, and if it's awkward for black, I mean, it's equally awkward for white. So really the position is complex for both sides. So it's something worth giving a shot. It's not something so simple for white to face. It leads to unclear and interesting positions. So that's kind of my coverage of this rook b8 against king b1 move. Hope you found that helpful. Hope you found that the ideas interesting, and I hope you can use some of these ideas in your own games. Thank you very much for watching.